Hello guys, welcome back. We actually hit 1,000 subscribers. It's crazy. I promised you guys a 1,000 subscriber Q&A, so here it is. Yeah, I have your comments from the community post, and I'm going to answer every single one of them. But let's get started. This awesome guy named Burge117. Also, sorry if I mispronounce usernames. I'm really bad at pronunciation and spelling in general, as you've probably noticed if you watch my videos. But Burge asks, why are you so awesome? I'd like to think it's because my facial hair. You can't see it because I don't have a face cam right now, but I have some pretty cool, slick facial hair, and it helps out with me not looking a little... not looking my size, you know. I look like a cool, suave dude with it. But other than that, I'm not that awesome. But thank you, though. Okay. Better Boone wants to know what's my YouTube goals. So this is a constantly changing questions, I feel like. So I've actually been doing YouTube since probably 2017. If you go to my videos tab, you'll see they only go back a couple years. And that's because I've unlisted several. I've just put some to private just because I don't really get a lot of views. I'm like, this isn't representative of what I do now. But other than that, they only go back 2 years. It actually goes back further than that on another channel I had, but I just stopped it. All that is to say, my YouTube goals are constantly changing. When I was like a little tot, I wanted to do YouTube because all of the people I was entertained by were YouTubers, and I wanted to be like them and live in a big house from YouTube money. But as I got older, of course, I realized that's not a very good life path to set on, because you never know what's gonna happen. So instead, my YouTube goals shifted, and when I started college, I got into a digital marketing major. So one of the big things that companies hire for, or if it's just like an influencer wanting a social media manager, one thing they want you to do is to have experience and show that you have actually kind of fostered a community of at least 1,000 people, and I finally did that, so I can finally put it on my portfolio. But it's a little silly, but compared to my old goals, I feel like it's more righteous. Also, I just like the community of that you have on YouTube, Twitch, whatever you decide to do content creation on. It's nice to be able to talk to people that have the same interests as you, and of course I'll let y'all really... I think I've put a pin on my target audience, finally. So Chomsy 3002, what's your favorite Halo level? Also, you're pretty entertaining. Thanks. You said your favorite level is 343 Guilty Spark. I think that's a lovely level. It does a really good job at building tension. My personal favorite would be Delta Halo on Halo 2. It's got really pretty scenery, and it really captures the ring world aesthetic. Although it's kind of weaker compared to a lot of other levels narratives. So if I was to pick a close second, it would be like Quarantine Zone, because the fight through the different levels of the Flood going towards the Sacred Icon, aka the Index, that's a really cool narrative, and it has a good plot twist at the end and pretty good gameplay, especially for Flood levels. I'd actually change my answer. I like Delta Halo for the scenery, but I think Quarantine Zone's probably got my favorite narrative and also mixing with gameplay. Mortal Onyx, Jerome or Noble 6? That's a broad question. Are you asking me which one I like more, or which one would win in a fight, or which one's taller? I think in terms of my favorite, which is how I'm guessing what you're asking, I personally like Jerome a lot. he didn't have a lot of characterization in the first Halo Wars, and he got a lot more in Halo Wars 2, and he also cameos in some books and stuff. But the real reason I like him over Noble 6 is because I am a real sucker for the Mark IV armor in Halo. It is probably my favorite Spartan armor design-wise, so I have a huge fashion bias for Jerome. Also, I think he's got a really cool voice, and I think you'd be a good candidate for the next protagonist to Halo if Master Chief ever takes a back seat or anything like that. Especially because he's still younger in canon because he was in Cryo for so long. Keegs06 asks, if you could change the fate of any Halo character from the games or otherwise, whose fate would you change and why? I read this question before starting the last challenge, and I've thought on this a really long time, and fate is such a broad word because that does not necessarily mean death, that just means what was done with them, right? And there's a lot of characters that I would want a different change for, but it's just like, ugh. It's a shame what Bungie did to Johnson, killing him off at the end of Halo 3. But if we're being honest, he had nowhere to go. I think if I were to choose, also the Spartan 3s on Halo Reach is a shame, but it had to happen. It's like putting down old Yeller. If I had to change the fate of somebody, I think it would be Miranda Keyes. Because her characterization in Halo 3 is kind of horrid. She comes off as a she comes off as a huge cliche, and it's kind of cringe when in Halo 2 she actually was pretty cool. Like, she led her whole crew through the slip space rupture, and most of them did die, that's true, but it was like vital in stopping the rings from firing. So probably I would change Miranda Keyes. I don't know if I would say she shouldn't have died at the end of Halo 3. She probably should have. If she stayed, she could have done more in like Halo 4 and future games, like if she went back through the portal, like the Arbiter. But I would have honestly been fine with her dying had she just not been so dumb in Halo 3. Like, her death, at least, I don't know, her death was a little dumb. Crashing a Pelican into a room full of brutes and then just letting yourself get shot to death by a feeble old man who's gone senile. That's just, off-putting for me personally, but that's a personal opinion. It's whatever, you know. Brandon Coleman asks, why do you mess with your FOV? It looks terrible. Still great videos though. It's got a lot to do with motion sickness. I could probably change it back now because I have a different monitor, but for me, if I have too low of an FOV, I get really motion sickness. So keeping a large FOV helps me to not get sick. Not everybody experiences that, but for me, it was a big issue. And since I had like a big curved monitor, I had to crank it really high for a long time to actually keep from getting motion sick. And I'm gonna turn it down now that you say it because it does look bad because the arms clip and stuff. The Drippiest Duck. Do you think Halo CE Remake and Halo 7 will be failures or big hits? It really depends. I think Halo would look great in Unreal Engine 5, but if they don't do anything, it's just gonna look pretty and not be that fun to play. I think if they were to make a Halo CE remake, which me personally, I think they would do a Halo 3 remake, or maybe a remake that combines the first 3 campaigns and then make the multiplayer based on Halo 3. But if they were to do a Halo CE remake, I think what would let it succeed or be a big hit would be to include some of the stuff from the novelization or maybe Operation First Strike, because that would expand on the campaign with material that matches the tone, since it would be kind of hard to write a matching story for a game 24 years ago. So if they were to adapt some like novel content, I think it could be a big hit. At least for me, I'd love it because I'm a big campaign geek. I'm not really that big on multiplayer. I would like it to be a big hit, but do I think it will be? Probably not, unless it's something in regards to a complete rehaul like Doom 2016 that just evolves the game. But since Halo hasn't had a break in its game releases, I don't really see that. James H. I can't read that because my screen's far away. Do you plan on sticking with Halo? I like to play Halo a lot. You could call me an addict. It's like Halo's like a dopamine bump to me because the nostalgia I get from playing the early games. And I do like going back to them. I don't think I could ever really get sick of it. But I also do have a lot of other games I like to play. So I would keep playing Halo as long as the franchise is around, of course. But I would also like to do other videos too, not branching off too far from it, but you know, because I also really liked playing Skyrim when I had a 360 back when I was a kid. I'll probably stick to Halo, or it'll always be around as long as I'm around, probably. But not exclusively Halo. But yeah, we'll be sticking to it. And Chomsky 3002 again. You got 2 questions in here, you sneaky dude. Do you think Halo 3 is the best game ever made? You do. Define best, you know. I think personally that for the multiplayer community, in terms of Halo 3's multiplayer, I think it is probably the best game not ever made, but it doesn't have a lot of the junk that newer games has, and it's probably the last of the era before a lot of the junk got added in. So I would say multiplayer wise it's probably one of the best still around, because living on an MCC. And once you go further down the timeline, you get stuff like armor abilities, and I really don't like armor abilities, man, because they put players at such an uneven playing field, especially when you have unlimited uses. But campaign-wise, like I said, I'm a big campaign player. I don't do multiplayer as often. Campaign-wise, I think Halo 3 is below Halo 2. I think Halo 2 has a better narrative in the campaign, even though it doesn't get to be completed. I'm not gonna get into the like content pipeline here, but I think overall Halo 2 had a better story. It was very entrancing, especially like the Arbiter's whole shebang. And then on Halo 3, the Arbiters has a few lines and rightfully murders a prophet, I'm gonna say. I just don't feel like Halo 3 did as much justice as for Halo 2's narrative that it set up, but then again, there's only so much left that they could have done, since there was only one real thing to do after Halo 2, and that was to kill Truth and stop the Gravemind. So on my metric, maybe not, but on others people's metric, probably so, because I do like Halo 2. I don't know if Halo 2 is my favorite game. I like Halo 2's multiplayer, but that's because it's simpler. But I definitely like Halo 2's campaign a lot better. But in terms of the best game ever made, that's got a lot of contenders, and I don't want to make that choice because some might have recency bias and some might have nostalgia bias. So I'm gonna safely just say, for a lot of people probably so, but for me it's not my thing because I'm not a big multiplayer fan. But it does have it's still fun to play with friends on like co-op and even like some just custom matches, but it's all up to, you know, player's choice, which Halo 3 gives you a lot of. But anyways, that was the last question, so thanks everybody for watching. I have finished the next challenge run, and after this video is posted, while it's posted, I'm probably going to be editing that video, so, you know, stick around for that. And once again, thank you guys for getting to 1,000 subscribers, because it means a lot more than just good feelings for me. That like actually, even if it's just goofy gaming stuff, it makes for a good thing to put on a portfolio for some of these like things I'm trying to go for, my goals, you know. So thanks again. Y'all are the best. I'm gonna go record that next script now for the next video's challenge. It's not very original, spoiler alert, but I hope y'all will enjoy that, and I hope I answered all your questions sufficiently, but you know, if I didn't, it's fine. But thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next challenge video. Bye bye.